Pleasure to see you again, Wayne. Thanks very much for taking the time to sit down and have a chat.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Being the incoming chair of NAPB. That's well-deserved recognition, and good for you for helping out the team.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
For our viewers, any of our viewers who don't know you, you're pretty well known in these parts, but maybe some of our viewers might not know. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, Wayne?
Sure. I grew up on a row crop farm in southeast Alabama. Got my master's and my BS and master's from Auburn University, PhD from University of Tennessee. Spent 12 years as a cotton breeder on an experiment station with the University of Arkansas system. Moved to Texas A&M in 1986, and I'm continued as a cotton breeder. And I also teach 3 classes currently. A couple of graduate classes in plant breeding, one in undergraduate in crop production. I'm also the associate department head for the Department of Soil and Crop Sciences.
Excellent. You're a busy guy.
Well, got to try to stay out of trouble.
Good for you. Good for you. When you've been involved in NAPB for, we'll call it a number of years, when did you first get involved, and what was your impression of the organization then?
I think I first became involved with NAPB when the meetings were in College Station, Texas. I think that was 2011.
Right.
I was impressed with the organization, with the meetings. Gave a lot of attention. What makes it unique is that there's a lot of attention given to graduate students and encouragement of graduate students and trying to help them in their development as professionals. And so I became involved with them, I think it was 2011, somewhere in that time frame.
Excellent. Was there somebody within the association that kind of fostered you along? I mean, just to...
Well, there was Don Cummins, who was with Monsanto at the time, and continues to, after his retirement, continues to support NAPB and comes to the meetings, as you well know. And Don and I had become acquainted through his encouragement and support of our distance plant breeding program that we have at Texas A&M. And as that, he knew me as an educator, and so he asked my permission, encouraged me, and then nominated me to be a part of the communications committee. And so I went through the 3-year rotation with the communications committee, and then after a year or two later, then was asked was I willing to stand to be for the executive committee election, and I did so, and that's where I am today.
Excellent, good for you. How important is that connection when you come into an association like this that is such a tight-knit group of people? Or correct me if I'm wrong, it's a tight-knit group of people, right? Like these people get along.
Well, of course, we all have the same goal in life. Many of us have the same background, maybe a different crop, but it's the same background. As you say, passion. I mean, it's not unusual for every speaker or many speakers to get up in front of the group, making their presentation, and talk about their crop is the greatest crop in the world. Whether it's strawberries or lespedeza or cotton or corn, you know, we all are in love with our crop or crops in some cases. We all see the value of what we do. I suspect every one of us wake up every morning looking forward to putting our feet on the floor and going to work. And and many people in many professions, same as yours, I presume, would speak of the enjoyment of the work. And I think at what we do, we recognize that, yeah, it puts food on our table, but it also puts food on the tables of a lot of people around the world. And I think it may sound corny, but I think we all have some degree of pride in being a part of the greatest food, fiber, biofuels, shelter industry that the world's ever known.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And I'm not 100% convinced that all industries have the same kind of passion. And actually, that's not fair. I think they have the same passion. I'm not sure they have the same cooperation. Because the level of cooperation that I see, even at an event like NAPB or for the sector in general, for plant breeders in general, it's a competitive group, don't get me wrong. But the level that they're willing to go to help their colleague is second to none.
Sure. I think that's an appropriate and correct evaluation. Yeah, we're all competitive. We all have egos. We all want to be the best. We all want to outdo our colleagues, but we wish our colleagues well. We just want them to be second best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Indeed. So NAPB has been making strides forward in the last number of years. I think that'd be safe to say.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, can you share with me a little bit about the direction of where we're headed now and what you anticipate the direction that you will help to take the organization?
Well, I think what we have to do as an organization at this point in time is to become more organizational-wise and financially secure in our future. We have survived, if you will, on the meetings. That's our predominant source of income, and it will remain a predominant source of income. I think we're going to continue to be predominantly a meeting organization. We want to help, as we talked about earlier, we want to help graduate students mature, become professionals that they're capable of being. But I think we need to explore, and I hope to over the next few months, explore ways that we can identify reoccurring financial support for the organization. I don't think we want to grow into an organization with a publication, journals, and all that kind of stuff, but we have to have enough reoccurring support to know that next year's meeting is going to take place, that we're going to be able to function as a group, get information out not only to our colleagues and membership, but get information out to the general population and have an influence from a, for lack of a better term, a lobbying perspective to know that we're going to have the financial means to send people to D.C., talk to the people who make decisions and make policy relative to plant breeding.
And be able to have those conversations, right? You got to be at the table if you're going to be part of those conversations.
That's correct.
Yeah. One of the things that I've heard a lot of talk about, well, I've really heard this talk since I became involved with NAPB, I guess probably about the same time, 2010, 2009, is communication. Mm-hmm. And this group isn't exactly well known for their, and by group I mean plant breeders, are not specialists in communications. They're specialists in plant breeding. And I've always heard that we wish we could, and what do we need to do? But now what I'm hearing is a real groundswell that says we not only as veterans have to figure this out, but we have to figure out how to get the next group that's coming along to be better at communicating the story and telling the story. I think I heard a lot of, why do I have to tell my story? Now what I'm hearing is, how can I best tell my story? How can I get involved in telling my story? And I think it's folks like yourselves that are pushing that forward by being willing to stand up and help to run an organization and being able to stand up and tell the story, because we've got to tell that story not only amongst ourselves, but to that next level. Does that sound right? Am I barking up?
No, I think you're absolutely right. We have to tell that story not only at the professional level. We had this discussion in a meeting yesterday that, yes, we want to influence the influencers. We want to influence the policymakers. But we've got to influence the teenagers, the young mother, the young father who they have no clue where their food comes from. They have no clue that they're the best fed generation of people to ever exist in this world. And that from a food perspective, fiber perspective, shelter perspective, biofuels, green space, whatever you want to talk about in the sense of a crop, that they have at the consumer level the best that there's ever been. And obviously we want to continue to make it better. We want to continue to make more of it so that others worldwide can share in it. And our part is not the political part of solving those worldwide hunger problems. Our part is simply to be able to produce enough food to solve that when our political leaders figure out how to solve it.
Well said. I heard a concept presented not too long ago that was, let the professionals talk to the professionals and let the rest of us talk to the rest of us. And I think what they meant by this was, let's not worry too much about what we have to say to the government. There's professionals that are advocating down that path. You've got the American Seed Trade Associations of the world that are pushing forward the National Plant Breeding Platform. But as plant breeders, does it make sense that our role is every month we got to talk to 10 people and tell them about what we do? And the idea was presented to me, and I thought it was just a little bit of a light go on for me that let's not worry too hard about that top tier of people that are so hard to influence and so hard to get to. What if we just started that groundswell and asked each plant breeder to talk to 10 people a month? And it feels like it would be a small number, but it would increase pretty quickly. What do you think? This idea was presented to me.
Well, I think that we need to take the opportunity to speak about plant breeding every opportunity we have. As I tell students in my class, say yes more often than you say no. You'll get a whole lot more out of life. And so if you have the opportunity to speak to a 4-H club, a nutrition club, a food writer for a newspaper, whoever that might be, don't just wave them off. Go talk to them. They don't know what plant breeding is. They don't know. They don't know whether their food is good, bad, or indifferent. They don't know if it's safe, not safe. And there's so much propaganda these days from so many groups of folks who want to scare people into thinking that their food is not safe, or we're doing something to a plant that's never been done before. We're not doing anything that Mother Nature hasn't done for eons.
Exactly. What would you like others that aren't as familiar with NAPB, what would you like them to know about the organization?
I think there's two things. You hit on one of them a few minutes ago, and that is the expertise that is here. I'm impressed. I always feel stupid when I go to meetings like this because people are talking about things and I'm scratching my head. What did he say? What'd she say? I don't remember that pathway or whatever else from biochemistry. So there's an awful lot of expertise here, an awful lot of people who do some really, really good stuff. And the second thing would be that as an organization, I'm involved in other professional organizations, and they too are concerned about training the next generation of plant breeders or plant pathologists or entomologists or doctors or scientists or whatever they are. But I don't think to the degree that this organization is. 1/3 of the people here this year are graduate students. And we need to find the way as an organization to move that to half the people who are here are graduate students. We need to find some, as we started out this conversation, we need to find some stable financial support that we can help bring those graduate students here who otherwise might not have that opportunity.
Well said. And lastly, as an industry veteran, can I say that?
Oh, I'm a veteran, all right. That's a nice way of saying an old man.
Wayne, you are well respected throughout the industry, and I'm curious, what would your advice be to some of these young, recently graduated or grad students that are just getting into the business? What would your advice be?
2 or 3 things. One, be assured that you have the opportunity to make a difference in the world. You might think that, well, I'm just a soybean breeder. I just try to make the higher yielding soy. No, you're a part of the group of people who are making a difference. You're a giver. You're not a taker. And so I would want them to know that uh, they are critical, and that their contribution is going to be, has been, will be, and going to be important in the world. I think they would. I'd also want them to have a concept of understanding that they are a part of this great adventure of feeding and sheltering 9 billion people, 10 billion people, 11 billion people, whatever it's going to be, somewhere down the road, and they are important into that. I would also want them to know that it's going to be a fun ride. It's I've been at it for 40 years, and it would suit me if I could be another 40 years at it. It's rewarding, and you you get up every morning ready to go to work and see what's new. Everything's not going to be perfect every day, but taken as a whole, it's a nice ride.
Well said. Perfect place to end. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you for what you do for NAPB.